Any looseness at the pinion end with moderate pressure applied would indicate worn pinion bearings, incorrect pinion preload, or rack-to-pinion preload. Here again, removal of the unit for service should be recommended. To check for loose inner tie rod socket joints, shake the wheel in and out while feeling the rod and socket through the boot. Any free play here usually means replacement of the joint, but some models can be serviced and adjusted, so check the service manual for details. Check the outer tie rod end by pushing up and down with both hands while looking for free play. Then, check for tie rod preload by twisting the rod back and forth. Easy twisting here means the tie rod ends are losing their internal preload as a result of wear or damage. Next, check the rack housing support bushing for looseness due to wear or deterioration. This could cause loose steering or wandering. If you have a helper, the dry park check, as it is called, is also a good way to check most steering components. With the wheels on a dry surface, have the helper rock the steering wheel left and right so as to put some stress on the components. Look and feel for looseness at all joints and mounting supports. If the customer is complaining of a lack of power assist or moaning noises when turning the steering wheel, you can often pinpoint the internal problem to either the spool valve or the rack piston by using the stethoscope while having a helper turn the steering wheel left and right.
McPherson strut suspension systems have become more popular with the downsized cars because this system also has fewer parts and less weight. This unit is more than a shock absorber, since it now is an integral part of both the steering and suspension systems. As a result, these units are more expensive than regular shocks. However, they do last much longer. Since they are a key component of the steering and suspension system, they may need to be replaced because of mechanical damage rather than internal hydraulic problems.
Quick testing of McPherson struts can begin with the bounce test, just as you do for regular shocks. It should take continuous effort to keep the car bouncing, and when you let go, the car should stabilize within 1 to 2 oscillations. Otherwise, the shock is weak. Another check to make, wherever possible, and before raising the car, is the bent shock rod test. Hold the shock rod while you loosen the attaching nut 1 turn. Then rotate the shock rod 360 degrees while watching the tire. Any movement in or out means the shock rod is bent. A camber gauge may be used here to show the actual change. A bent shock rod, such as on this Fairmont, would change the camber or caster. This would introduce handling or pull problems and eventually tire wear. Shock strut or cartridge replacement will be required in this case to solve the problem. Don't forget to retighten the attaching nut. Here is the same check on a 79 Omni, and you'll notice no tire movement in this instance. In general, this check can be performed on most vehicles where the shock rod end has either a hex end, hex socket, slotted end, or double flat, so you can hold the rod while tightening or loosening the nut. With the vehicle weight almost off the wheels, to partially unload the upper bearing, grasp the spring, then push and pull to check for any horizontal play. A little looseness in the upper bearing is normal on some cars, so check the service manual if in doubt. With the vehicle raised fully, check the shock for leakage. However, Be cautious here, as someone may have installed a cartridge in the strut and put too much oil in the shell prior to inserting the cartridge. This could cause overflow with heat and look like a leaky shock. Ball joint checking on the late model front-wheel drive Chrysler products has been made easy by the use of an internal wear indicator. Before lifting the vehicle, simply grasp the grease fitting and try to wiggle it. Any movement means the joint is worn out, and the internal preload can no longer keep the joint and the indicator under tension. On other vehicles, to check the ball joints, refer to your service manuals, as there are many different styles and methods of checking them.
These quick tests, which we have covered, will help you diagnose the most common problems you'll encounter with CV joints, rack and pinion steering, and McPherson struts on most of today's downsized and front-wheel drive cars. With a little practice and consistent checking, you'll get to know what to expect as normal conditions, and therefore be able to identify a problem more quickly when it does show up. As on many earlier vehicles, there are often not actual published wear specifications on many steering, suspension, and driveline mechanical components. You must be the judge, but be sure and refer to the shop manuals frequently whenever there is any doubt. On today's cars with escalating repair costs, we must be accurate and certain of all checks before recommending any repairs. Always explain the facts to your customer, particularly the benefits of frequent inspection. In this way, you'll hopefully catch the little problems before they develop into costly surprises. Your customers will appreciate your interest, and you'll appreciate their regular business.